Today we are discussing some other sodium ion dependent transporters. We have discussed the asglut, which is mainly responsible for transport of glucose, but that is sodium dependent transport. Similarly, we have some other sodium dependent transporters which we will discuss today. The first one which we are discussing today is sodium hydrogen transporter. Now this transporter, it leads influx of sodium ions coupled with efflux of hydrogen ions. Now what is its main function? It maintains cellular pH. That is the hydrogen ion concentration that is maintained by the sodium hydrogen transporter. So if I am making here simply a diagram, so this is a cell here, and this a presence of a sodium proton exchanger on it, or we can say transporter. Now it leads influx of sodium ions, which is coupled with efflux of hydrogen ions. Now if you have a such type of transporter, we can call that as a sodium hydrogen transporter. So it is sodium dependent, so that is why we call it sodium dependent transporter. That means the protons which are located within the cell, they are expelled out into the extracellular matrix. So as to maintain the pH inside the cell, that will not become more acidic or it may not become more basic. So the pH which is maintained within the cell, or to maintain the pH, that is mainly maintained by the sodium hydrogen transporter. That is pH within the cell, that is cellular pH, is maintained by the sodium proton transporter or sodium hydrogen transporter. We have one more transporter here, that is known as sodium ion dependent calcium ion exchanger. This is one more sodium ion dependent transporter, that is sodium ion dependent calcium ion exchanger. This second one, it is crucial for regulating muscular movement of heart. It is regulating, or it is maintaining the muscular movement of the heart. Say if we are taking here a heart cell, so this is a heart muscle here, or heart muscle cell. Now we have a presence of a transporter here. Say this is a transporter located here, that is known as a sodium ion dependent calcium ion exchanger. Now it leads influx of sodium ions coupled with efflux of calcium ions. Now when the calcium concentration within the muscle cell, within the cytoplasm of the cell is very high, that is responsible for contraction of the muscle. But when the calcium is released out, or some of it goes into the ER, into the plasma, it is stored here, and some is expelled out through sodium ion dependent calcium action. What happens? The less calcium concentration within the cytoplasm leads to the relaxation of the heart muscle. So we can say it is crucial for regulating muscular movement of the heart. This calcium, if calcium is very high within the cell, within the cytoplasm of the cell, means there will be more contraction of the cell. But if the calcium is less within the cytoplasm of the cell, it leads to relaxation of the muscle. So that's why we call sodium ion dependent calcium ion exchanger is crucial for regulating muscular movement of the heart. With the next one, the third one we are discussing, that is sodium ion dependent chlorine ion or bicarbonate ion exchanger. We have the one more, that is sodium ion dependent, that is sodium ion dependent chlorine ion or bicarbonate ion exchanger. In case of this type of transport, what happens? There is an influx of sodium ions as well as bicarbonate ions coupled with efflux of hydrogen ions and chlorine ions. So you have to keep in mind what the sodium ion dependent chlorine bicarbonate ion exchange, what it is doing. There is influx of sodium and bicarbonate ions, influx which goes within the cell, coupled with efflux of hydrogen and chlorine ions. Say for instance, if we will take a diagram, to show the diagram. Say for instance, if I am taking here a cell, so this is one of the cell, and this cell, it is having a presence of a transporter here. So this is a transporter here. So this is a sodium ion dependent chlorine bicarbonate ion exchanger. It is the ion exchanger here. So what it leads? It leads influx of sodium ions and bicarbonate ion, that's HCO3 negative. It leads influx of sodium ions and bicarbonate ions coupled with efflux of hydrogen ions plus chlorine ions, which later lead to the formation of HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. And here it leads to the formation of, it combined, it leads to the formation of sodium bicarbonate. So sodium bicarbonate gets formed here, and we have the formation of HCl here, that's the hydrochloric acid. It is mainly seen in case of stomach. When the stomach is releasing the HCl into the lumen, it is mainly released in such a way, it's in the sodium and bicarbonate ion, then expelling out the hydrogen and chlorine ions, which later lead to the formation of hydrochloric acid. So this is also a sodium ion dependent chlorine bicarbonate ion exchanger, which is mainly expressed in case of the stomach, while the HCl is excreted by the cells of the stomach into the lumen of the stomach. So that HCl gets formed due to the influx of the sodium ions and bicarbonate ions, leading to the coupled with the efflux means expelling out of hydrogen and chlorine ions. Now we have one more case here. In case of RBC, the membrane is having also the sodium and chlorine and bicarbonate exchanger. It's also having the sodium and bicarbonate exchange, but that is sodium ion independent. So RBC membrane expresses, if you take RBC membrane, that's plasma membrane, is a red blood cell. RBC membrane expresses sodium ion independent. The word you have to keep in mind is the independent. Sodium ion independent chlorine ion and bicarbonate ion exchanger, which is also known as band 3 protein. So this is also known as band 3 protein. Band 3 protein band 3 protein helps in chlorine shift. Helps in chlorine shift. You got to keep in mind, it's helping in a chlorine shift in case of RBC, that is a red blood cell. So red blood cell is also having the same exchange. There is a chlorine ion and bicarbonate ion exchange, but that is also known as a band 3 protein, which is independent on the sodium ion. It's not dependent on the sodium ions in case of previous one. And this band 3 protein, it helps in a chlorine shift. If we will take a diagram here, we'll see. In case of a RBC, I am making here a diagram. Say if it is a RBC here, roughly. Now its membrane is having a presence of this band 3 protein, which can be also called a sodium ion independent chlorine bicarbonate exchanger. What it leads? It leads influx of chlorine ions coupled with efflux of bicarbonate ion, SO3 negative, bicarbonate ion. Now this bicarbonate, it is here efflux. Efflux means it's expelled out. Now it is maintaining alkaline medium external to the plasma membrane, external to the RBC. But this chlorine, it combines with the hydrogen to form HCl. Now the environment within the RBC, if it is a RBC, now within the RBC, the HCl is creating the acidic environment. So environment within the RBC is acidic. Now this acidic environment within the RBC is mainly responsible for binding of the oxygen with the hemoglobin. So the RBC has to maintain the acidic environment. So acidity of RBC or acidic environment of the RBC is responsible for binding of oxygen with hemoglobin, that's Hb. So you have to keep in mind the very important thing, that is acidity or acidic environment within the RBC is mainly responsible for binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin. So the environment within the RBC should be an acidic environment. That's why we can have RBC with its on its membrane, we have presence of sodium ion independent chlorine bicarbonate exchange, or chlorine ion and bicarbonate exchange, which is also known as a band 3 protein. If anybody asks what is this band 3 protein helping, it is helping in a chlorine shift. That is, chlorine is taken from extracellular matrix into intracellular matrix, while it binds with the hydrogen to form the HCl. So the RBC, within the RBC, the environment becomes acidic. This acidic environment is crucial, or it is required for binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin. This is all about the other, what we call the sodium ion dependent transporter.